This is my 3000 day hardcore world where I'm building a large fantasy Asian city at spawn and hundreds of overpowered farms to get the resources I need. Last episode I built a creeper farm that makes me 600,000 gunpowder per hour, but today I want to slow it down and do more building. My city has 5 main districts: the city proper, the guilds and shops, harbor, residential, and the military zones. And today we're going to build the entire military district, including the barracks, detailed training grounds, and some other accessory buildings, as well as the combat headquarters. Unlike the creeper farm and the 11,000 amethyst we needed, this material collection session was actually simple. Detailed builds always take a lot more types of items, but far fewer of each one. 8 brown beds? Yeah, easy. A few cobblestone walls? I got this. Anything dark oak? Yeah, I got a farm for that. Okay, except the stripped woods. I kinda hate doing that. I need a new log stripper soon or something. This used to be a nice way to do a couple of stacks of logs, but it's definitely not meant for 2,000 or more. At least when I needed more spruce wood, I was actually already at my spruce farm. And yet people ask me why I need faster farms. Let's repair this axe quickly, and I guess these hoes. Okay, that's stripped wood and resource collecting, all done. Let's get into the work. Today's split up into 3 main goals. Number 1 is terraforming. I need to get the land to look a little bit more suitable for the builds I have planned. Number 2 is the buildings. We're adding about 8 new buildings to the city today, plus a large training area, and a stable for these skeleton horses. And number 3 is detailing. Once the terraforming and builds are done, I want to go back through and add some extra details and set up the training grounds. Let's move these guys somewhere safe. I find terraforming and landscaping to be some of the more relaxing bits in Minecraft. I could set up a beacon for this, but it's only a few hundred stone to remove, so it seems like a bit of extra time for nothing. I'll reuse plenty of the stone, dirt, and grass as I terraform, especially filling in the holes and smoothing the land out around here. The main military headquarters will sit on a raised platform, and the hill will need repair, caves will need to be blocked off. There's a lot to do to make the surrounding area playable and looking nice. I also want this training pit dug down a few blocks into the ground so it's fully safe and protected for those who are training here. Mostly I'm just going for a feeling of separation. The training pit should feel like it's barely connected to the city, and those who are training here should be able to focus on just their work without the distraction of shops, the harbor workings, or the people milling around in the city. And having lore to work with like this has really helped me design the city and make my choices. Thinking about what each villager type would need and want lets me provide it for them, and it's something I highly suggest in your own worlds. Some of the builds around the area will also help tell that story. A guard tower is more of a stronghold than a lookout. I'm not going to put on big open windows, but it'll sit on the edge of the city as a place that troops can gather, regroup, or tend to wounds, or simply guard the perimeter. The stable next to that will provide quick access to cavalry for the troops, and the swordsmith and trophy room close by is a reminder of the victories and the heroes that have fallen. Okay, maybe I should have set up a beacon for this. Let's do some more work. One of the common questions I've seen in the comments on past episodes is how do I repair or get XP, as it seems like I'm always going up in levels, but I'm never at my XP farms when I do. What I think gets lost in heavily edited videos is the little in-betweens. In this case, my shovel needed a lot of repair and the villagers were nearby, so I'd trade iron, trade some of the emeralds for redstone, quartz if I need more XP, boom, shovel repaired and I'm back to work. There's actually a lot that gets cut out when you play for 40 hours, but you don't want to release an hour-long video. I think it's one of the reasons people aren't as excited about the current state of Minecraft on YouTube. Projects get bigger, but video lengths often barely change. Yeah, so we're spending 5 times as much time recording now, and the video's still 20 minutes. So something had to change, and what changed was whether or not I can bother to show you those little bits of mining, tool repairs, me flying around looking at things, or simply playing the game at a normal pace like this. But sure, we can just time-lapse the whole video now, right? Time-lapse the digging. Time-lapse the building. We can montage the fly-through at the end that only about 20% of people will ever see. But that's not a fun way to play or a fun way to watch Minecraft. These are just a few of the things I'm thinking about as a YouTuber in 2025. Okay, I didn't set up a beacon, but I did uncover this one from my old mineshaft. Then I do what we've all done at some point. Fly way too far over to get the beacon effects, rather than take 30 seconds to set up a new beacon. Why do we do this? I don't know, but it's like a rite of passage for Minecrafters to have done this at some point. Race to see how much you can mine, and then it goes away. And you fly back to grab the effect again, do it all again. Zoom back to finish before it ends. I said I'd be reusing some of the grass blocks, and this is part of that. I could get away with a couple of lights under the base, but it's nicer just to fill it all back in first, I think. And it doesn't take that long. And you can actually see the plan forming here. Sunken pit, raised training HQ. The pit's very ugly at the moment, but it won't be for long. A solid platform of reused dirt will start me out, as I want to convert all of this to dirt path. In my reference images, there was always a solid light dirt on the ground. We're not going to be straight copying any of these particular images, but the idea behind each one is similar. High walls, sunken or isolated area, and a separate area for oversight by the higher ranked leadership, and all those concepts will come through to this final build. And dirt path is also spawn proof, so keeping this area safe for me to be inside becomes a lot easier too. Sure, it's great to be historically relevant, but not becoming history is actually even better. I forgot how much durability pathing takes, and once again my shovel looks like it's been through the war. Oh well, it's a good way to get more emeralds with my stacking raid farm completely broken these days. And with terraforming looking a lot better, it's time to start doing some building. I brought down all the shulkers and materials I had collected earlier, and there's a lot here. It fits with the main color scheme of our city while being a bit darker in overall palette. If you remember all the way back when I did the sentry towers, I said that this area would have a darker, more militaristic vibe with less red and white and more black and browns. There's also quite a bit of stone as the roads and paths are where we're going to begin. Both roads are now in. One will go along the side of the training grounds, like here, while the other will go over toward the barracks, which will sit at the end of this platform over here. I've also put in the main areas for this big platform and some basic stairs that will head down into the training area, both here and over on the side there. And the side of the platform will get trapdoors, not stone here, so I left it exposed, but that's also basically done. I want the exposed side to have as much room as possible to walk around, and maybe build some carts or armor stands here later, and these trapdoors will contain the side without taking up a ton of visual space. And I've used that technique in other parts of the city, so I'm also maintaining consistency there. The internal wall of the training grounds is going to be as high as I can make it and still have it make sense. I like the contrast of using spruce logs here next to the path block dirt. The light dirt and dark bark just works together. It also creates a really obvious border between this area and the world outside of it. I think 3 high is where I'll start the top of this wall. I want to add fence posts for a bit of extra protection and height, but I don't want to add them all at exactly the same height, so the wall will need to show how it's taken a bit of damage over the years, much like the sentry tower that's going to be built nearby. And yeah, this is all making it work so much better now together. It's harder to see out when you're inside and it feels isolated down here in the pit. Okay, there are spies in my base. After swooping past them a few times to kill them, I took a little bit of time to reorganize my shulkers. It was so painful to build the way that I had things, and building is always easier when you're organized. Oh yeah, this is so much better. I don't know what I was thinking. I usually grab things in the order they appear on my list, but actually using build types, so like all the roof materials together, that was just way better. Okay, I really love the center build here, the main training HQ, and the way that I showed damage and usage on the sentry tower was to use these multicolored spare part looking roofs. You can tell it's not perfect and the military couldn't be bothered rebuilding aesthetics because they're only likely to take more damage in the future. The original sentry towers here have more of an outpost or a viewing platform. They're used to see trouble coming, not necessarily defend against that trouble when it arrives. The fortified tower is definitely stronger and more defensible, but obviously more solid than beautiful, and most of the roof has been shot out and replaced. Next up is the stables. I want a place to keep our skelly horses safe and ready to take into battle. I love these simple little Minecraft builds that we've all done, but end up giving a bit of extra vibe to the overall area. And yes, I realize my skelly horses don't require water, but it's fine. It's fine. Maybe I'll have alive horses here later or something. Yeah, it's fine. I know this is a very simple build, but I do love how it came out. The water troughs in the back, the hay and storage nearby, and the simple stalls make it work. I want to move the horses in, but be aware that I'll have to raise the internal fence walls later, as the horses were somehow just walking straight out. Come on, boys, or girls, I don't know, no bits and pieces, it's hard to tell. Hope you're hungry, I brought some hay for you. You're all skin and bones, minus the skin. This build was originally going to be something else, more of a swordsmith or an armoury, but what I really wanted once I built it was a place to put trophies from battle. This small build will serve this purpose, allowing me to put a wither skeleton head, mace head, and a hero's armor stand and weaponry into the build. It has a reinforced wall so it's pretty safe from outsiders, and inside the guard tower so it's well guarded. Here are the raised interior stable walls. You can see even now the horses are trying to jump out. The barracks is now complete with this small custom boulder outside. Oh, let me fix the door real quick. Done. Alright, there's no interior to the barracks yet, but the exterior and the roof are very consistent with the style I've been using for the whole city. I mean, my pagoda doesn't even have much of an interior yet, right? And that was built in episode 1. Alright, next up is the training grounds and work on that, starting with this overseer perch and a special little treat. Check it out, this giant sword will stand guard out front of the military district to show their ownership of this area. I nearly used this ages ago on my floating island or even all the way back in the pagoda, but I'm glad I saved it for this. It just works here and the ribbon is so sick. To celebrate, I'm going to do a 360. That was a barrel roll, close enough, Rad. Okay, the main thing we have left to do is this training ground. I'm not leaving it empty and I think these shulkers contain most of the rest of what we're placing. This is the perfect canvas for what I want to do, so let's get to building it. I absolutely love how this training ground came out. The drip leaves are here to teach our warriors about timing and swift movement. You can actually stay up on all four indefinitely if you do it right, but it's very easy to fall in. Over on this wall we have a simple parkour stepping stones that are unevenly spaced by distance and height. In case of an attack on the city, warriors could also scale this wall to get out and join the fight quicker. It's also fun for me to pretend I'm good at parkour by making it easy. And that takes us straight into the archery range with targets at 4 different distances. There we go. Let's add some wither skelly heads to this to make the training dummies a bit more realistic. And if I come back to the city hub and start there, we can see the whole build coming together. The sword welcomes us into the military district, and down this road you have the tower, trophy room and stables, as well as one of the entrances to the training grounds. And then turning left here, you'll end up at the training headquarters and the 2 dojos. There's swords above each entrance, and there's room inside for the master and 2 students to practice close quarter combat. Past that we end up at the barracks where the soldiers could sleep, rest, and recover from a hard day's work and training. And that wraps back around the dojos to the training area. At the front entry you'd see the banners with rules and observances, as well as the white banner which I would envision as like the motto or the creed for the city's defenders. And that takes us into the parkour training for those who obviously need the practice. And you can see lots of other training obstacles, platforms for 1v1 fights, the archery range, campfire and survival training, as well as this dangerous dripstone area with more parkour to complete. And jumping off that into the master's area, we can watch everything that happens here, from the sword training on the bamboo, to the hanging pot breaking, barrels and more obstacles that will train agility along with the drip leaf that we saw earlier, and our cavalry waits patiently to be called into action, and finally not jumping out of their stalls. Right, guys? This area also has plenty of storage for saddles, bows, and armors, as well as a bell to call the troops to arms when needed. And other than a little bit of cleanup, that's the military area mostly set up. If this is your first time watching, it's important to note that I don't consider this finished, I consider it done for now. At the very end of the city build, I'm going to do a full detail pass that makes sure every little bit of this looks as good as I can, but that's a process for a different day, as doing that as I go isn't really the most ideal way for me to build. Alright, let's take a second to update the local map. And there we go. In total today I built 9 separate build areas for our military forces to use for hand-to-hand combat, city defense, agility and skill training, and much more. Let's take one last look. The city is really coming together. With the harbor, residential district, and now military areas all built, I can turn my focus to the guild district, the city proper, and eventually detailing and finishing the city. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.